Okay, friends, are we in a position to start the session? Good evening to you all.
Very good evening, sir. Yes, sir. We can start the session.
What I see is only 5 students are there, right?
Yes, sir. There should be 11 students. They will join during the session, sir. I have informed them.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to check from everybody. Okay, say around 8 or so. We'll check with all the students whether this time is convenient and all. We will see. And some of you maybe got into the traffic jams around, being Friday and the rainy day. Okay, well, anyway, we'll start now. Okay, welcome to the session. So, first of all, we have to know what is strategic management and why we want this. Is there any significant impact to you or your life with this particular subject area? These are the few things that we want to start with. So, what is really strategy and why we want it?
May I, sir?
Sorry, yes. Yes, Vijita?
Strategy. Well, if you look at what strategy is, first of all, strategy is discussed at high level.
Okay.
High level planning and design to achieve long term goals. So, in each field, you require strategies. Strategy is not confined to one field, and it's required for every field which has long term goal. And then, when it comes to achieve those goals, you may have to undergo series of actions, which may require various kinds of resources. So, by and large, this is you can call strategy. And
Yeah.
why strategy is required, one can understand.
Yeah. Partially, that is right from top management or senior management is doing certain things. But what about us? Do we need strategy? For
Yes, we
us,
do. We
yes,
do.
we are in
In
organization.
day to day, in day to day life, you should have strategies, and
Mm,
and when you come to your workplace, you have to have strategies. Um,
what about home?
yes, you have to have.
Personally,
You have to have.
so then I'll have one small question. Why did you selected to follow this program, MSc in Public Procurement and Supply Chain Management? Why?
So when it comes to supply chain management, that covers a huge area, that covers various fields.
No, question is different. Why did you Why did you think of joining this program, doing it, reading for this masters?
Well, that's again to achieve a goal. In each person should have some goals.
So,
Uh,
what are the goals that you have?
well, in my case, I want to. How I was persuaded to follow this because when I learned a little bit of supply chain management and procurement in one of the appointment that I held previously, then I had a goal. I thought of learning it to uh, implement certain things which had not been implemented so far, and people have found it difficult to implement certain things to achieve goals in various sectors. So I thought of learning it, and then if I get a chance, I would be able to help people to implement it. So that was my goal. I do not know whether I'll be getting that chance in future or not, but that's how I entered into this program.
What about others? Why did you join this? Any other idea? Is there any value that you are getting out of it? any benefit, material benefit? Yeah, without taking much time. Thank you. Which is now the case is, I've been asking this question from students from time to time. So many have the ideas of earning a degree, yeah, getting a good qualification for the prospects, future prospects. I mean, the job wise, to change the jobs, to rise in the ladder. I mean, in the organizational hierarchy, improve income level, social status. All these things are the answers. Now, keep in mind all these things, and your answer as well. You thought of doing it too. Will be able to apply this knowledge and will be able to help others. Now, end of the day, I mean, one day we have to look at what we have done, what we have achieved. 31st December, we can revisit. Another 5 years time, we can revisit and see what we have achieved. But before the end of this course, maybe after 2 or 3 days, next day or day after, I mean the next session, we'll try to identify what we have done, why we are doing this, and what are the strategies, what we can deploy in achieving certain aspects of our life. Now, strategic management emerged earlier, yes, even we had been asking, we had been looking at so many things in the history, so many stories are there. So then we can find some people have strategies, some people have tactics. So one of this, what is very common and popular that we all have learned, what happened in Europe is about the Trojan horse and how these people won wars with the Trojan horse. Next, if you look at the Asia, if you look at Sri Lanka, do you think people would have built these massive reservoirs, tanks, Kala Weber, Balalu Weber, Noor Weber, so many seasonal and lot of perennial tanks that people built. When you talk of something like Parakrama Samudra or even lot earlier, the Kantale tank or Kantale Weber, which were somewhere, I mean, very early tanks. And when it comes to the Putlam district, Putlam and Mana basin, so many things called Veubandi Raja and all these things. Anuradhapura, then go to Hambantota, to all these parts of this country, especially the dry zones. Not only dry zones, even others. Can you imagine the structures, size of these structures? Why did they want it? Constructing all these things had linked with certain requirements of those societies. And really speaking, the economies prevailed at those during those periods. And people had been calling this country as granary. Peradika Dhanyagare. So that is the level of agriculture that we had. These technologies emerged because of these requirements. So people had been here, they had been undergoing from time to time dry periods, dry in the sense without rain, but they wanted to see that the land is arable. How? with these tanks, and tank is one part. I mean, the Parakrama Samudra is one part, but starting from that, what are the other irrigation network that we had? And nowhere in the world you can find this cascade system of water, utilizing water. From one reservoir, or what do you call this, the tank or the well, the water flows all over the country. So main sources of rain plus the rivers that were always flowing. It's a nice and well-designed cascade system. Okay, that is history. But we cannot forget what these economies had. Not only irrigation, not only the outcome is transport plus food, I mean the agriculture. Then what about this country had been existed there as a hub for lot of traders. So that is why, even though today our people, the people in this country do not understand, but the West knows it very well. West and other parts of the world, they knows it very well. Strategically, what is the location of the importance of this location, and why it had been this country had been a hub for international trade. You don't believe. There are a lot of producers here, as well as this exchange center, where today you can find some silk robes that were available 2000 plus years back, before Christ. If you go to National Museum and ask for it, they will show it. Of course, they were not manufactured. I mean, we don't know whether it's manufactured in Sri Lanka or not. Probably got from India. At the time, India was not one country. From various parts of India. So even those people had strategies and managed in a total different manner. Technology-driven various strategies, and accordingly, so many things have been changed. Certain times we had failed with strategies, even recently, as well as 1,000 years ago, or even 500 years ago. So where are we? What are we doing today? What are these governments doing? Do they have identified good strategies? Are they deploying good strategies? And nowadays, world economy is changing. Amongst war situations, or between Russia and Ukraine, and for that, so many European countries are getting together. What about Israel? Israel and Iran, Israel and Palestine, and what is happening with the other neighboring Middle Eastern countries. Then what about India and Pakistan? China and Taiwan? And what is the role in Japan? So that was about international politics. Then what about technological changes? Technology, about energy consumption. And now people are trying to shift away from high carbon emitting energy sources to green energy, renewable energy sources. As earlier, there's a target given for many automobile manufacturers. So after 2030, this should be the target, like minimum use of crude oil base or the fossil base, the oils or petroleum products. What about electrification and where we are heading today? But today, if you go to, especially many parts of Colombo, you can see recently imported amongst the recently imported motor vehicles, many are hybrids and can see very many electric vehicles as well. So what is this shift? Forget all. In any organization, many of these organizations, you can see applications of AI, applications of artificial intelligence, generative artificial intelligence. So now still we cannot identify the horizon of AI impact into day-to-day life, organizational management, then manufacturing and service sector, including medical. So what is the end? And these changes are very, very, very rapid. You know, world's largest, one of the world's largest software organization, Tata Infotech, went ahead with, about 2-3 weeks back, went ahead with massive layoff. In Sri Lanka, the Orient City at Dematagoda, see the number of organizations, software developers and all, who had laid down their or cease into operations of IT-related companies, information technology-related companies. Why? So many things have taken over by AI applications, artificial intelligence applications, even coding, the program development and programming. So no, you don't need very many programmers today. Of course, programmers are needed, but unlike 3 years back, nowadays 1 or 2 people can do lots and lots of programming within short period of time. So you don't need very many people for this. In developing a web page for you, you can get it done. AI applications are there. When writing an assignment, yes, you can use AI. Earlier, we have to go and get it language editor and all. Now, it's simple. On the other hand, if you give your keywords and all your basic requirements, maybe with 1 page, and then he will do the word processing of a good answer, good letter, good business letter within a short period of time. Only thing is, after that, you have to refine it. Your input is very, very valid and important. Your prior knowledge is essential. Otherwise, through AI, you won't get the result and it will be garbage. So this is where we are. So in an era of this nature, what do we want? How to plan for tomorrow? What is my plight tomorrow? So at the Open University, when we develop programs and curricula, when we enroll students for our programs, we don't know by the time they walk back into the market, market of jobs, market of industries, what level of changes are going to be there? So we need rapid response rate to change and modify our curricula according to the changes in the marketplace. And unfortunately, even people in the marketplace are not in a position to understand what are the impacts of AI, IT, and technologies. Other technologies as well. You will agree with me that none of you have written a letter to your family members during the last 3 years or even more. ලියුමක් ලියලා එනිලෝප් එක දාලා ඇඩ්‍රස් එක ලියලා මුද්‍රයක් ගහලා තැපෑලට දාපු එකක් නැහැ. Unless other is an official matter. Not for you, not for a friend or a family member. I believe nobody has used airmail or sea mail during the last 5-6 years. And you see, today we are not, except for official matters, we are not really using landline telephone to dial other people. So what's happening? Some people, it's certain applications, they are doing some voice dialing. Even the cars are driven like that. You don't need very many sophisticated technology for that. Only is your awareness and your willingness to adapt to them. So with that, we'll step into this strategy. What is strategy? So for this course, like to have your active and live participation, share your experiences, what you have seen, what you have observed, what is happening, and especially in the business field, in industry, what is happening. Certain expectations. And it can be locally. Locally, when we address locally, when in your immediate environment, in your area, district, or say, for example, Kandy or upcountry, Colombo, down south, like that, as well as the country and world, the region. And major changes, major stuff that is coming with it. Okay. So when you open your eyes, when you look at things, when you study why people are or why organizations are doing things, yes, we can enjoy this course. About 10 days back, within last 10 days, you would have noted one of the major investors, or in our layman's term, one of the rich people in the country, swapped his wealth by selling his shares in the banking sector and purchased another organization in food processing and sales. I'm really referring to Harishchandra Mills, multi-billion-dollar deal. So multi-billion-dollar rupee deal. Got rid of certain shares in the finance sector and purchased this Harishchandra Mills at down south. What is that? Why he went for it? Such a decision. Okay. So this course is not only for corporates. These concepts are really valid because we play multiple roles in our society. some family member, family head or nominal head, brother or sister, father or mother. Okay. And when we in the around, we are in different societies, clubs, and then organization. Within that formal structure, yes, you are a certain player. But in addition to that, even in the organization, there are a lot of informal structures as well. There again, you play different roles, clubs, societies, gatherings. So this subject area, the strategic management, yes, definitely tell us what we are and what we are going to do. So we plan for it. So basic part is why people wanted to study and apply this is by comparing why certain organizations are doing very well and while some organizations fail. And basically, we have noted many organizations fail within its first year. It's not majority, it's super majority. Within 1 year, many organizations fail. The rest again fail within the next 2 years. Only a very few number succeeds. And especially these things plays when you are going, I mean, for the older organizations, when people are doing certain changes, yes, then again it's becoming a situation where organizations fail. So strategic management evolved with a lot of success stories. No. By studying a lot of failure stories and few success stories. So especially why failed and how they have emerged again, how they have acquired their market and strengthened their position, improved their profitability as well. So then people wanted to study this and identify how this is taking place. So for this purpose, I have a small video for you. Let me share the sound with you. Okay, have you heard of the company called Gucci? Company who's in design, coming with a lot of
I
trends.
haven't heard before.
Sorry?
I haven't heard before.
Yeah.
It's Italian on company, I suppose.
Yes, Italian. Origin is Italian. Okay, let's see it. By the way, did you hear this voice?
Yes, I can.
Right, okay. Right.
Gucci is crowned the world's hottest brand. Throughout its 100-year history, it's been worn by royals, first ladies, and celebrities. Today, it's no longer exclusively for the elite and remains the ultimate status symbol. And it all started with a dishwasher, waiter, and bellhop. On March 26, 1881, Guccio Gucci was born in Florence, Italy. His parents were humble merchants who made straw hats and expected Guccio to take over. But by the time he turned 17, the business went bankrupt and the family fell apart. Driven out of his house by his father, Guccio hopped on a freighter to England. Once he arrived, one of London's most lavish hotels, the Savoy, took him in. There, he worked as a dishwasher, waiter, bellhop, and later an elevator attendant. The job was considered a big deal since the hotel was the first in the world to have an electric elevator, and it gave Guccio the rare opportunity to observe its wealthy and famous guests up close. He noticed that all of them traveled with elegant handbags and luggage that were more than just functional items. They were status symbols. He also learned that they were obsessed with the idea of quality and cared very little about the cost. After a few years, Guccio saved enough money to return to Florence and start a new life. He worked for an antique store, married a dressmaker named Ida Cavelli, and started a family. But when the First World War broke out, Guccio was forced to leave home again and serve in the army. Fortunately, he survived and returned to Florence when the war ended. The city's economy was destroyed, but Guccio found work at a company that specialized in quality leather products. The owner taught Guccio the basics of the trade, including how to work with different types of leather. Guccio learned quickly and was asked to open a new store in Rome as their manager. Ida refused to leave Florence, so Guccio had no choice but to travel back and forth. Each time that he returned home, he longed to open his own shop in Florence more and more. One Sunday, Guccio and Ida went for a stroll around Florence. While walking by a narrow side street, they spotted a small shop for rent. Ida encouraged Guccio to take over and pursue his dream of opening up a shop in the city. With her blessing, Guccio didn't hesitate and pulled their savings and a loan from an acquaintance. He called this shop Valigeria Guccio Gucci, but later shortened it to Gucci. The shop offered leather handbags and luggage that Guccio handpicked from suppliers in Tuscany, Germany, and England. More often than not, Guccio found himself having to commission unique pieces. His experience at the Savoy gave him a knack for sensing what wealthy tourists were likely to buy, and his suppliers fell short of offering them. Eventually, he grew tired of relying on his suppliers and opened a workshop to make and repair his own products. While they became popular among wealthy tourists and the local elite, Guccio was struggling in secret. His family and staff only discovered the truth after he could not hide his tears any longer. He looked like a man facing a death sentence, one of them recalled. Like many entrepreneurs, Guccio struggled to turn a profit within the first few years of opening. Suppliers who let him buy goods on credit were demanding payment, and some clients did not pay what they owed. Guccio was strapped for cash to pay for his bills and had no choice but to give in to what he had feared most. "Unless a miracle happens, I can't stay open another day," Guccio admitted to his family and staff. Guccio's future son-in-law could not bear to see him in pain as though he was facing a death sentence, so he offered to give him a loan from the savings he put aside to marry his daughter Grimalda. Guccio humbly accepted. Within the next few months, he was able to pay back the loan in full and hire a team of artisans. Each one was responsible for completing a product on their own from start to finish. Sometimes the process involved putting together 100 different pieces and took an average of 10 hours. As Guccio's business and team grew, Italy's leadership changed. Several nations imposed harsh sanctions on the country, and Guccio could no longer buy all the leather he needed. To save his shop from closing a second time, he took a chance on making new products. First, he made handbags and luggage with both canvas and leather. Leather was only applied to the most used parts of the products: the corners, clasps, and straps. Later, he expanded his product line with accessories, including belts, wallets, and shoes. His loafer was the first in the world to have a gilded snaffle. Meanwhile, one of Guccio's sons, Aldo, was thinking bigger. He had traveled all over Europe and discovered many were interested in his family's products. Why not bring Gucci to them, he thought to himself. When he brought up the idea of expanding to other cities, Guccio shot him down. He believed it was too risky and doubted they could come up with the money. Aldo remained convinced that it was a great opportunity and secretly asked their bank for a loan. Guccio eventually caved in and opened a second shop in Rome. It turned out to be the family's savior when the Second World War broke out and Rome became an open city. Soldiers swarmed the shop to buy anything that they could send to their mothers, wives, or girlfriends back home. When the war ended, Guccio scrambled to get loans from several banks to keep both shops open. And while he remained short on supplies, his team continued to make new and more unique products with what they had, including bamboo-handled and pigskin bags. By the early 1950s, Guccio ran a third shop in Milan. Meanwhile, his sons Aldo, Rodolfo, and Vasco were far from home. They secretly flew to New York to find a location for their first American store. With a $6,000 bank loan in their pocket, they settled on a small shop just off of Fifth Avenue. When Guccio found out through a telegram, he was furious. "Come home immediately, you crazy boys," he cabled back. To him, their plans were nothing more than a reckless scheme, but once again, he caved in. Unbeknownst to his sons, it would become one of the last things that he could do for them. One year later, Guccio's first American shop opened in New York. It made history as one of the first Italian labels to have its own store in the city and was known as one of the most exclusive labels in Europe. Royals and celebrities worldwide were fans, including Queen Elizabeth II, Princess Grace of Monaco, Jackie Kennedy, Sophia Loren, Elizabeth Taylor, and Katharine Hepburn. It was clear that New York was just the beginning of a worldwide expansion and that the Gucci family had much to celebrate. But 2 weeks after opening their store, celebrations came to a halt. Guccio dropped dead from a heart attack as he prepared to go to the cinema with Ida. In his will, he left Gucci in the hands of Aldo, Rodolfo, and Vasco. Grimalda, whose husband once saved the company from closing, was given nothing. She tried to fight her brothers for a share of the company in court, but returned home empty-handed. Afterwards, business continued as usual. Aldo focused on expanding Gucci abroad, Rodolfo managed its store in Milan, and Vasco ran its factory in Florence. Meanwhile, Gucci's reputation was growing among the elite. And it was all thanks to a product that Aldo once snubbed and many called bizarre: loafers. When Gucci released them in New York, stiletto heels were all the rage. But soon after, women caught on to the comfort and chicness that loafers offered. Eventually, Gucci's loafers became a must-have among men as well. In fact, Frank Sinatra was known to have a large collection. Over the next few years, Gucci continued to make its mark by opening dozens of stores worldwide and expanding into clothes, perfumes, and watches. It became widely known as a status symbol and unseemingly untouchable, until history repeated itself. 2 years after Gucci launched perfumes and watches, Vasco passed away from cancer. He had no children, so his stake in Gucci was given to his widow, Maria. Aldo and Rodolfo bought her out and split the shares 50-50. Later, Aldo split 10% of his shares with his sons Giorgio, Paolo, and Roberto. Meanwhile, Rodolfo refused to give a single share to his only son, Maurizio. While collectively the sons had a small stake in the company, it was inevitable that they would have to step up. Gucci's business had increased 25 times over the previous decade. Still, Giorgio, Paolo, and Maurizio strayed from their commitments and even rebelled. Giorgio secretly opened his own shop using the family name. Paolo started his own label and outed his father for tax evasion. And after Rodolfo passed away, Maurizio was handed half of the company and kicked Aldo out. From then on, Maurizio became hungry for even more power. He was convinced that the only way that was possible was if he bought his family out, but he didn't have enough money and would need to find an investor. Bankers were intrigued by the idea but were skeptical that a deal would be possible because of all the family feuds. Fortunately, one private investment firm, InvestCorp, was crazy enough to take the risk. They were hardly known in the financial world, but had made a fortune by saving and taking Tiffany & Co. public. 2 years after a deal was signed, Maurizio successfully bought his family out. But under his leadership, Gucci's glory days were gone, and the company started losing $30 million a year. InvestCorp agreed to save the company under one condition: Maurizio had to leave. Maurizio fought back but eventually walked away. 2 years later, his body was found slumped outside his office in Milan. His ex-wife Patrizia Reggiani hired a hitman to murder him. Carrying on Guccio's legacy was now left to InvestCorp and its new creative director, Tom Ford. Tom replaced Gucci's grunge look with glamour, and soon after, Hollywood went Gucci. From then on, he created must-have pieces every season. His bold designs led to Gucci reaching record profits of more than $1 billion a year and 2 successful IPOs. Today, Gucci is worth over $17 billion and crowned the world's hottest and fastest growing luxury brand. It's also favored amongst millennials and teens, thanks in part to bringing in an outsider. This is the story of how a dishwasher built a billion-dollar luxury brand that survived a series of war, bankruptcy, and family feuds. If you're interested,
So the question is, why do some firms succeed while others fail? So that has to be addressed by strategies these companies have adopted. Strategic management process they have adopted in their organizations. So when we address it, and finally, if you look at the history, you will see strategic management is a shared process or interactive process, not just planning, financial planning or forecast-based planning, or maybe strategic planning. So it's not just using certain internal and some external data or matching them and doing certain things. It's beyond that. So nowadays, when we address it, we have to look at the challenges that's coming from the marketplace. What are they and what we are doing? And friends, when we look at it, I like this this particular definition, even though it is a couple of years, maybe decade old. I had got it from one textbook. Strategic management is a comprehensive and ongoing management process aimed at formulating and implementing effective strategies which align the organization with its environment to achieve major organizational goals. So when we read this definition, working definition, we can see few key terms and concepts that are coming with it. Initially, you can see it is a comprehensive, it is not ad hoc, it's a comprehensive process, and it is an ongoing management process. Ongoing management process, because once done, it is not fixed. So from time to time, you have to revisit.